Just moving quickly through a series of poses today. If you need a lot of assistance and cueing, go back to last week. Let's start with just a moment as we're, even before we center, to open up a little bit in the shoulders, just to make sure you're comfortable in your body if you've been sitting still. Open up in the hips a little bit, and then find your feet underneath you. Notice sensations, notice your breath, just let your breathing happen. Now let's get for real about Urdhva Hastasana. So arms are going up. Remember, you can keep this as it going up and down. Down through the legs, up through the arms. Breathe deeply into all aspects of that cylinder that contains your lungs. And on your next exhalation, let it go. And let's come to a wide stance. So wider than shoulder distance, maybe one leg's distance between your legs. You're going to fold forward, but best to have a thing in front of you because we're going for an arched spine. And you can find that bit of arch even before you rotate the pelvis over the thighs, folding forward to the hips. And just hang out there. At whatever level gets you a mild stretch through the hamstrings and a lovely opening through the torso. Coming up out of your Prasarita Padottanasana, get your legs back underneath you. I'm going to step today, which means I'm training my landing. And let's head into Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. I'm going to try jumping out at least a little bit, and then I'll widen from here. I'm going to use my right foot as the front foot. That may show up differently in your world, 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock with the back foot. Thighs out, ribcage turns, arms up, shift the hips. Keep shifting as you deepen the fold at the hip, letting the knee bend. And the arm comes alongside the ear. Oh, look, it's kind of like Urdhva Hastasana. So notice the direction of the stretch of the energy that you're using. Down through the leg, up through the arm. On the upper side, for me that's my left side. Notice the shape that that front leg is making. Below and in front of all of that long line. Notice the spirals that happen. The legs turning out, the ribs spiraling. And when you're ready to come up, back leg, big inhalation. And then turn the other way. 10:02 with the back foot, 12 o'clock with the front foot. Turn the thighs out, rib cage, arms. Setting up the basics is so important for getting the whole rest of the pose. Shifting at the hip, continuing to shift. Even as you deepen the fold at that front hip joint, releasing the knee. Finding again that direction of energy down through the leg, up through the arm, spiraling through the rib cage, opening that front knee, noticing the shape that you're making, one long line through the arm and into the spine and into the back leg. And then your 90 degrees knee and ankle, perhaps. And then deepening whatever level of fold at that hip joint. We're not going beyond 90-90. And then a big inhalation, strong back leg, bring you up. Turn the feet forward. And you decide how you're getting your legs underneath you. I'm going to step again. Training my landing. Pause for a moment just to notice how it feels now, what's awake, what's happening with the breathing. And then downward dog with a wall, with blocks, with some sort of support for your head if you have it, not necessarily if you don't. So we're using the wall in order to push through the arms into the torso. Again, similar to Urdhva Hastasana, just the hands are turned in a different direction now, which will make a difference. But we have that sense of, like the back leg in Parsvakonasana, the legs pulling up and back, hips shifting up and back, and the arms are pushing away from the torso. The head rests on whatever soft support you have. So you can lengthen, feedback to lengthen the spine up and away. And then come on down when you're ready. We're going to get into a deep lunge position, which means, as I crawl to the next place, which means that we're in this sort of a shape, but I'm going to turn in a different direction to show you some of the details. Again, I'll have my right foot front. I've got that foot on one side of my mat, the other foot on the other side of my mat. If you don't have a mat, just go for wider than shoulder distance. So both hands are on the inside. We're exploring now with a strong back leg how much this front of the back hip will open. And then we're pulling the front knee in and engaging inner thigh and the arm. A push-push game here. And then let it go. Rather than standing up into this today, I'm going to crawl into this. You can decide what's best for you. Again, feet wider than shoulder distance or mat width apart. Strong back leg. Discover where the hip stretch is on both hips. And front thigh in, arm to inner thigh. It's still that feeling of the back leg holding you up. It's still no greater than 90-90 at the ankle and knee of that front leg. And then let it go. And we're going to come to sit. You decide if you need to sit on something or not. Baddha Konasana is where we're headed, soles of the feet together. And once you discover what you need for Baddha Konasana, in order to just make the rocking about what's happening at the hip joint. I need something else for my hip today. We're eventually heading for Adho Mukha Baddha Konasana, which folds us forward. For some of us, forward is not a possibility, right? So we stay with the rocking. And we're not looking to get shoulders to the floor. We are looking to get belly onto feet or in between feet. Again, the pelvis is rolling around the thighs. And okay, when you're ready to come up, big inhalation. And let's come to lie on belly and work the whole back line of the body for Salabhasana, your locust pose. Take a moment just to lie with your head on your forearms, heels outwards, so we're in a collapsed sort of state. Breathe into the back of the body, the whole back of the torso, maybe down into the hips. Maybe you feel your breath in your legs. And then reach your legs long as you move them into neutral. Bring your hands next to your chest, kind of a grasshopper shape. And then lift the hands off the floor. Those muscles in between your shoulder blades are working. Inhalation will be up into Salabhasana. Exhalation will be back down onto the floor, except for the hands. Long as you inhale, even longer as you relax. Distribute all the work of the locust along the entire back line of the body, not just one point. And then when you lower this time, come back into that collapsed state. Take a few breaths deep into those muscles you just worked. Scan and notice the sensations in your body. Notice how you're breathing. And you can stay there for relaxation, or you can roll over and lie down for relaxation, or sit in a chair for relaxation, or go about your day, whatever's appropriate for you. Good job on doing something for yourself. See you in a couple of weeks.